a simple Father's Day card. Hi guys, it's Amanda here from Lolli Lulu Crafts, and today I thought that we would do a card for beginner crafters, you newbies out there, because I know that we often just focus on the slightly more experienced crafters, so I thought it'd be nice to go back to the beginning and do something that's going to look fabulous hopefully, but is nice and simple for beginners to do. And I thought that my first kind of big tip for any beginner is to get a kit. It doesn't have to be an Griffin kit, maybe a hunky-dory kit. You could get very small little hunky-dory kits that have just got a couple of sheets of card and some toppers in. And the beauty of any kit is that it covers sort of one of the #1 fears of most new crafters, is that how do I know what goes with what? Because they've already done that. If you buy a kit, you know, you're not going to really go wrong. One of my two sort of favourite companies for kits is Griffin and Hunky Dory. So I thought today, because it's Father's Day coming up, that we would use this Griffin Cards for Him too kit. I would also just like to add one more thing before we get into this box, is that as a beginner, I think one of the biggest mistakes I see made by you guys is that you don't get good quality materials. You'll feel like, oh, I'm not good enough yet to have those expensive materials, or not even expensive materials really, because they're not usually that terribly expensive, but comparatively so. And of course you're never going to end up with a good quality card, and I think this is one of the biggest mistakes I see made, is that you use, as I said, this cheaper cardstock, the cheaper products, and if you start with cheap materials, you are always going to end up with a cheap looking end product. You can't, you know, what do they say, you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, and I think that's the same sort of principle here. And the great thing about having a good end results is that it encourages you to carry on and experiment and do a bit more and a bit more. I think that's really important when you're starting out, that you'll feel pleased and proud with your end results. Anyway, so with this kit, what you're going to get is you've got, and I'm not going to go through in massive detail, I'm just literally going to have a quick look. You're going to get your ideas sheet, which is great. Each kit will vary, so with this particular one you've got some 3D little die cuts. Now in some kits you'll get toppers, so it varies, as I say. In this one you've got the die cuts, you've got some 3D sentiment, die cut sentiments, you've got some little embellishments, you've got some flat die cuts, you've got some little flat sentiments, little flags, which is cool, and then you've got your card base, and when I say card base I mean the actual card that you stand up, and you've got the layer that goes on top of it. Now this is the great thing about the Anna kits, is that it comes with those layers pre-done, because I think that's one of the next biggest fears of most new crafters, is creating the dreaded matting and layering even. Can't even say it. They worry about, you guys seem to worry about whether it's going to go, whether you can cut it straight, you know, all these kinds of things, and that's the beauty of this, it's already done for you. You don't have to have a mat. Certainly with the Hunky Dory kit, for example, that I did the other week, I just put my topper on and it looked fabulous as it was. So you don't always have to have it, but if you want to venture out into starting doing some matting and layering, then this is a great way to start, because the difficult bit for beginners is already done, and that's the cutting out. Then we've got, and I usually include some inserts. So inserts are just a piece of nice quality paper, if you're lucky, certainly with Anna it will be, that you put on the inside of your card to create that lovely sentiment, and having an insert always adds that extra bit of quality feel to it. But again, you don't have to do that, and a lot of kits don't come with that, and it's not necessary, but it is always nice to do something on the inside if you can. And then finally you get your envelopes. Okay, so when I was deciding what I wanted to do, my process for working out my card and picking out my elements was this. The first thing I did was I went through the little pack of toppers, because the little die cuts, because I knew that my dad is into cars and things, so I wanted a little car to put on his card. So I found this gorgeous little vintage car, so that's where my sort of first element was and where I kind of started. So I was working from that way. Sometimes you might have seen one of the layers of the mats that you liked, or you might have seen a card base that you thought, oh, I love that, I want to work with that. So you don't have to start from this point. You can start from any point that inspires you and then work from there and make all your elements join up from that. But I knew I wanted a car, so that's where my starting point was. I then went into the sentiments, because the next bit I knew was that it's Father's Day one, and I wanted to have a happy Father's Day, and I found this gorgeous sentiment, which is, again, is a 3D one, so I thought that was going to be great. The next thing that I saw when I was sort of just rummaging through the box to see what I could find for my mat and for my card base was the actual mat part. So, and I found this lovely mat and I really liked that, so that was kind of the next element that I came across. So then I wanted to choose my card base that would go with all of those things, so I found this gorgeous card base that looks kind of like gridded sort of vintage paper, so I thought that would work with the vintage feel of the mat. So we've got that. Then when I was in the sentiments section, it also had these little other die cuts. I don't know why they were in the sentiment bag, but they were. And I came across this postcard. Now, this is how I work, is I pick out elements that I like. It doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to use everything, because it may be that when I try to put this together that this topper doesn't work, or the postcard doesn't work, or whatever, but I pick out bits that I think I like and I hope, you know, is going to work together, and then we'll play around with it, and you may discard some, you may bring some others in. So just that's how I work, is that I, as I say, I pick out the bits I like and then try and work out the design. But it could be you've got an idea in your head of what you want, so, you know, go with what is comfortable for you. So then the next thing I went to was the bag with all the little gold pieces in, and I found this lovely gold swirly bit which I thought would be fun in the background, but I also found this lovely arrow which I also like, so I probably won't use both, so I've put both there and I'll choose which one I like best in the end. So now I've got all my elements, I need to start putting the actual card together. So I'm going to put all my pieces to one side, and I'm going to get my layer, which is my map. Now that's one, you could do that straight, you could do it wonky, you can, you know, put it straight in the middle like this, you can angle it a little bit, you could angle it a lot and then cut those edges off, or you could leave them overhanging and put it in a slightly bigger envelope. You can do all sorts of things. I want this to be straight, so all we're going to do is we're going to take our little glue runner again with our little ridgy bit at the top, and I'm going to go down each side. So I'm going to make sure that's centered, so you're looking up here, and with the beauty of course with the grid is that you can kind of get quite a good idea, but you're just going to do it by eye. And if you're careful with these tape pens and glue like this, it's slightly temporary, so until you really stick it down you can get a little bit of, you can peel it back off again and move, but I'm pretty happy with that, so we're going to pop that down firmly. So let's grab our little element piece here and see where we want to put things. And don't worry that we're covering this up, it doesn't matter, it's a background piece of paper, so the fact that we're going to cover some of it isn't a big deal. So I'm just thinking quite like car kind of down there. Now I was looking at the arrow, but I'm not sure about the arrow now, and I'm thinking I might just have a look at my swirly piece. Okay, so I had a little play about until I found the way that I liked it to work, and I'm happy with that. So now all we need to do is stick things down. So what I do is, once I've kind of laid it out, I try not to move it too much because you spent a while sort of getting it how you want it. So I put down some of the elements that are easy to put down without moving, but you have to obviously bear in mind some of these are on top of each other. Now these particular ones that Anna's done are actually stickers, so it's just a case of, on this one here anyway, of separating the back off, and then we can stick it down. So I'm going to pop that in position now, whoops, or not. Like that, and that isn't my daisy barking, by the way. My little daisy's sitting here very quietly. Okay, so we pop that there. Then I'm going to slide that little arrow out and see if that's got a sticker on it or not, which it has. So I'm going to peel that off. Now I know that's underneath, but we can very carefully hold that in position, slide that under where we want it to be, because then we can position that how we want it to be, and it will be much easier to do. There we go. And that just helps us have sort of some guidance as where things are going, which is always helpful. We take our little car off. The postcard isn't got any adhesive on, so we're just going to put our tape runner on it. Making sure there's some in the middle as well. And then I'm just going to put my postcard. I'm going to use my car to help me. So I'm just going to gently lay the car over the postcard. So again, it's just going to help me get the positioning how I want it. Yep, I like that. I think that works well. So pop that down. So if it did stick out and you didn't want it to stick out like that, you could easily just take that edge off with some scissors if you wanted to. You don't have to think, oh, I can't do that because it's sticking out, it won't fit. You could just snip it off, it's not a big deal. And then this last piece again is a sticker, so we're just going to take the backing off, which is always a pain to do, and just pull that all off. And then we've got our car, and we're just going to pop our car in position, which was about there. And the beauty you see of having the white behind the car is that it just pops the car sort of off the page a little bit, I think. And I'm just going to angle the car, I think that looks just a little bit better. But I just want to take it now, maybe just as, yeah, I like that. So just then push him down, and there's our finished card. So a very simple card to make because the kit's all there, but look, you wouldn't think when you look at that that was an easy peasy card to make. It looks like a complicated card, and it's just because the kit that you're using is pre-done a lot of the work for you by putting the colours together, the right kind of things are all in the box. They all match together, so it makes it a lot simpler to put it together. And it really has been a case of pick a card base, put a layer on, and put your elements on the front. Now you could do a lot less than that I've done. You could just put very much less on if you wanted to, but you can see even with that, you know, a few extra bits on there that we've done, it wasn't difficult to do. And I hope you agree that at the end of it, it looks fantastic. I hope my dad agrees when he gets it. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, then please go across to my website, and there's a message me section, so pop a question in there or in the comments below this on the blog post. If you're watching this on YouTube, the link to the corresponding blog post to this video will be in the paragraph below. and that will give you more information, more photographs, etc, etc. So it's worth having a look, and do go across and subscribe to my website, because then you definitely will always get notified when there's new videos, etc, up on my channel. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye!